Hey, this is Sissy Jones, or maybe you know me as Commander Sloan from Destiny 2. I am so excited to be a guest for the Rock River Valley Video Game Convention on September 21st in Machesney Park. I can't wait to see you all there. Now send the hive back to hell.
Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 259 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, August 26th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, a guy who better bring me back some barbecue sauce from Kansas City, Zack Parkerson. What's up, Zack?
Yeah, there is an awful lot to choose from out here, Scott.
Yeah, I know, and I'm out of good barbecue sauce because every time I go to Nashville, I stock up on barbecue sauce from this place called Puckett's, and I just ran out today. So I need some good barbecue sauce, and you are closer than I am to any place with good barbecue sauce.
Yeah, I would. There's more than a few options. This place, Joe's KC, actually, they have like gas station aisles, and it's like 3 or 4 aisles of just barbecue sauce. I could bring back for you, but I would bring you back their sauce because they're the best place in town.
Well, yeah, you said something about Anthony Bourdain said, like, what do you say about that restaurant?
It's one of the 10 places you should eat before you die. That was back when it was Oklahoma Joe's. Now it's Kansas City Joe's. Don't know why the name changed. Don't know why it was ever Oklahoma. But it's the best. It is the best barbecue in the city of barbecue for sure.
All right. Well, I would love a bottle of sauce. I will pay you for it. Just bring me some barbecue sauce because I
get you a gift. It's okay.
All right. I'm down. I'm down to what is it? Billy Joe's. I can't remember what the brand is that we get here.
Billy Joe's?
No, it's not Billy Joe's. I can't. Sweet Baby Ray's. There it is.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty nationwide one.
Yeah, that's the best I got. That and Kraft. That's all I got.
They get a decent Buffalo Sweet Baby Ray's.
Do they?
Yeah, I put buffalo sauce on almost everything I eat. So
I love barbecue sauce on everything. So anyway. This is not food talk with the Gaming Outsider. We do have games to talk about. And speaking of games, we've got our video game convention coming up next month. Rock River Valley Video Game Convention, or R2V2, is taking place on September 21st. You've heard us talk about it every week for the past several weeks. We are very, very excited. We are less than 1 month away from this thing. And I am nervous as I'll get out, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see everybody there. And guess what? We've got some sponsors that have been gracious enough to help promote the show. Number one, our first one is Dairy House over in Rockton on 113 East Main Street. Brent is the owner over there. They've got some fantastic ice cream, and he's actually going to be at the site selling ice cream that day as well. Also, Open World Gaming has set up for a sponsorship with us. They're located at 320 North Alpine Road in Rockford. They're actually doing their grand opening on September 6th. It is a land site. We have been sorely in need of one of those in Rockford for a long time. And lastly, our other gold sponsor here is Jack Tire Sales and Service, locally owned, and their motto is hit the road with Jack's for all your tire needs. You can find them at jackstire.com. Or if you're in South Beloit, you can head over there at 4829 Prairie Hill Road for all your tire needs. And I appreciate all those guys for helping keeping R2V2 alive and making it as big as it's going to be. Also, if you're coming to R2V2, be sure to like the R2V2 page on Facebook, share with your friends, help us get the word out. We need people to know about this thing. We want as many people to come there as possible. Zach, I am really looking forward to seeing you, man. I haven't seen you since E3. Am I going to get another bear hug?
I'll be there, of course. Yeah, not that weird handshake you were going for when you saw me. So impersonal.
I didn't know you were a hugger, man. I was thrown off by that.
I'm not really a hugger. It's just, for special people.
Aw, look at that. I do appreciate it, man. Also, I want to give a quick shout out. We did our game giveaway this morning. Every month we give away a game to the community. We take some of the funds that we get from Patreon and we give back to the community by doing a game giveaway. And this month we decided to give a choice of either Control, which Zach's going to talk about later on in the episode, or Hunt Showdown on Xbox One. And Nick Sigmeyer, congrats to him. He actually won the drawing this month, and he chose to have a copy of Control for Xbox One, and he should be getting it in the next day or two. So congrats to him. By the way, Zack, funny story. He won the thing and was totally going to get Hunt Showdown on Xbox One. And then he read your written review, which you can read at thegamingoutsider.com, and changed his mind and picked up Control instead. So look at that. You're changing lives.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm glad people read those things.
Yeah, I'm glad as well. And it was a very good review. I encourage everyone to go there and read it. Zack is a phenomenal writer. I love editing your work, man, because it's just I read it over once and highlight a couple commas and say, look at this, and that's it. It's awesome.
Commas are an eternal battle, but thank you, Scott.
Yeah, you and I disagree on commas quite a bit, I think.
I feel like everyone's got a different opinion on how the comma works.
I agree. Our language is so jacked up.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
Don't get me started on Oxford commas, although I think we agree on that front.
We do, yeah. There's no... If you don't believe in the Oxford comma, shame on you.
I agree. I don't understand that. By the way, real quick before we get into the news, if you haven't noticed, we do not have a third voice with us. We actually started recording this podcast probably about an hour ago. Would you say, Zack? Hour and a half?
It feels like an eternity.
It's been quite an evening with technical difficulties, and unfortunately, we could not get Chris Behrensmeyer set up to run without blue screen of deathing on him. So he's unfortunately going to be sitting out of this episode. It's going to be a two-man show, but we got lots to talk about, lots of games to discuss. So let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. So we walked into this episode with one news story on our format, and lo and behold, all these technical difficulties happened, and then news started dropping on us while we were waiting to get these issues resolved. And I thought this one was kind of a big deal. If you're a Mega Man fan, apparently we're getting a new Mega Man collection in the form of 0/ZX Legacy Collection. This is going to include Mega Man 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as Mega Man ZX and Mega Man ZX Advent. That's 6 games in one collection. It will be dropping on January 22nd, 2020. The screenshot that this leaked from appears to be on a PS4, maybe Vita, but I don't know. I can't imagine that this is only going to be on a PlayStation exclusive, so we'll probably see it on other platforms. But you're a big fan of this series, aren't you, Zack?
Yeah, these are actually probably my favorite Mega Man games.
Now, I've never played them. These are the Game Boy ones, right?
Yeah, Game Boy Advance was Mega Man 0, and then ZX was on DS. I never played the ZX games, but I did play the Mega Man 0 ones, and they're really good. The first one especially is really good because it was actually a Metroidvania.
Okay, so it's not traditional Mega Man. It's actually... 2,
3, and 4 are. It's
okay.
Goes back to the stage select, but that first game was like one map that you kind of explore over and over again. You get different like elemental abilities and stuff. It was pretty neat. Okay. It still had like tough as nails, combat and platforming of the franchise. And then X is the bad guy, I remember. Mega Man 0, that was pretty cool. Because it takes place 100 years after the X games.
Man, I'm intrigued. Because I'm a big fan of the Mega Man X series. And
X is great, and so is 0.
So since it is 0 always had a melee weapon as opposed to the ranged weapon that Mega Man and Mega Man X had. Is it all melee combat like that?
No, he does have his beam saber, but it's also he's got this little like pistol thing he whips out, which is basically just a Mega Buster equivalent.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Yeah,
does he say that line?
No, no. I mean, he does wake up with amnesia, so there's always that.
Hey, that's a video game trope that's never been done before.
Yeah, well, thank God. Yeah, it's so exciting to see such a fresh perspective. But yeah, no, those games are really cool, and they were GBA only, so it's nice they're getting new life.
I'm excited because I get to play them for the first time. I mean, as big of a Mega Man fan as I am, never played this series. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't get a Game Boy Advance until later in its life cycle, and I was big on Metroid and other stuff at the time, so I don't know. I'm looking forward to
playing Metroid Zero Mission over and over again.
I only played through it once. I did love me some Metroid Zero Mission, though. That was a great game.
Yeah,
that whole ending portion was fantastic. But January 22nd, and it's coming pretty quick. It's a weird date for that, or is it? I guess there's not really weird dates anymore. There's
I feel like games come out whenever they have a chance.
Pretty much. Well, speaking of dates being announced, we also got news tonight that the release date for Mario Kart Tour has been announced. If you're not familiar with this one, this is the mobile version of Mario Kart that's going to be on at least iOS. I assume it's going to be Android, but wasn't the Mario one on iOS first before it came to Android?
Right. Yeah. Well, it had didn't it have an exclusivity window, like 6 months or a year or something?
Right. So I'm assuming that this is going to be the same thing because you can actually pre-install it on iOS right now. I actually installed it before we started recording tonight. I don't know why I can't play it, but I know I'm going to play it. But are you excited about this one?
Yeah, of course. I'll check out. I mean, as a gamer, I guess it would be foolish to skip out on something Nintendo does, right? They're always worth checking out.
I think you and I are in the minority of that, man, because I posted this news in our Facebook group and Twitter and Discord, and almost everybody was like, oh, it's mobile? No, I'm out. And on one hand, I get that. Playing twitchy games on a mobile device is not the greatest, but...
Right, but who's to say it'll be that traditional format, right? You know, like they switched up Mario, they switched up Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing seemed like the no-brainer option to just make it the straight-up game on mobile. Mm-hmm. They still had to switch it up, and I don't feel like you get the traditional Nintendo games on portable, or there's something new,
Right. You know what will actually get me to play this more, and I know you're gonna think I'm crazy, and I hope that this game works this way. Is I hope that it is a tilt-controlled game, like you steer by tilting your phone. Yes, you look like an idiot. I get that.
Sure. Oh, but I mean, putting the option in there wouldn't seem that crazy.
Well, like putting the virtual sticks or whatever on the screen?
Yeah, if you want. I imagine it's like an endless run. Like you just change lanes, be my guess. But
oh, okay. That doesn't sound fun. Well,
that's just a guess. I could be wrong.
Man, I would love me. I mean, if you could race against friends and stuff, you get like 8 people in a room that all have phones and say, hey, let's play a quick game of Mario Kart. Just download it. It's free. Let's go play.
Of course, yeah, and people give Mario Run crap, but it's one of my favorite Mario games of the past few years, honestly.
I do not understand the hatred for Mario Run. I thought that was a lot of fun.
It was such a smart way to do that.
It really was. Like, to make that a mobile game, you can play the entire game with one hand. I think that was Miyamoto was on stage doing that, wasn't it? Like, look, you could have a hamburger in one hand, and
right.
It was a good game. And it was challenging. It was like to go get those coins. You had to really know the levels, and it was fun unlocking stuff. And I never had to spend a dime on it after what was it, like $10?
Yeah, $10, and you got a lot of Mario for $10.
Yeah,
I definitely went for all the coins and everything. That game was a lot of fun.
I did. So I did not complete it 100%, but I came close.
But I keep downloading every Nintendo mobile game, hoping it's as good as Mario Run, and nothing has been.
Right.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I kind of fell off the Dr. Mario World wagon. I think I actually finally deleted that one off my phone the other day just because I was like, I'm done. I stopped caring. It was a fun attempt, but it didn't stick around for me for very long. Animal Crossing, I didn't even bother because I just didn't like the Animal Crossing games.
Oh, I wanted Animal Crossing on mobile. Seemed like a perfect concept, but it wasn't a full Animal Crossing game, so not interested.
Yeah, I didn't even bother. Isn't there a Fire Emblem one coming too, or?
Well, that already came out. I think it's Fire Emblem Heroes, where you like collect characters or whatever. But it's very simplified, isn't it? I don't think it wasn't the hardcore. That's another game where it seemed like pretty easy to make a strategy role playing game on mobile, but they didn't.
Right, because it's not like a Twitch-based game. That's very much like strategy, grid-based combat, right?
Right, so, like a Final Fantasy Tactics type game on mobile seems like a easy concept to do, but
you'd think
it is what it is.
But we do not, unfortunately, work at Nintendo, so we are not making the call. But still, I will definitely give this one a shot, and I have high hopes, but a lot of people do not, unfortunately.
Yeah, people like to poo-poo stuff before it comes out, so they feel like they don't have to waste their time on it. But
I will be trying it. Speaking of Nintendo, we've been talking a lot about Nintendo in news this week. Some potential news leaked today over on Amazon. It was like for a few minutes or like less than an hour. Some images posted up for a Switch case that you could purchase that was Overwatch themed. And if you're familiar with Overwatch, as of right now, Overwatch has only been on PC, Xbox, and PS4. And if they are making a case that has Overwatch logos all over it, one would assume that that means Overwatch is coming to the Switch as well. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, and I think Overwatch on Switch is kind of a no-brainer as well. I know it'll be a technical challenge, but they got Warframe working on that thing, and that was a PS4 game. So I think it's possible. I'm sure it won't look as pretty, but the Overwatch seems like a perfect game because it's a T-rated multiplayer shooter. Mm-hmm. It seems like something that would do well with the Switch's audience.
I'm going to argue with you a little bit about it being a no-brainer on the Switch. As much as I love my Switch,
sure,
it is not known for its online capabilities.
Sure.
Or user-friendliness. That's going to be a problem. Also, when you play a competitive multiplayer shooter like that, you're looking for the best controls possible. Do you think that the Joy-Cons are the best controls possible?
I didn't say it was the ideal place to play it.
No, that's fair.
But I think when you go to non-Nintendo games, the multiplayer seems to work a little bit better. And even Splatoon wasn't, that tricky.
That's true.
So I think it's just, it's not going to feel as good as the PS4 or Xbox One controllers, and it certainly will not look as good. You'll need only look at the Witcher 3 port to see proof of that.
Right. And there are also Pro controllers out there, so you don't have to play with the Joy-Cons, but
yeah, I do love my Pro controller.
I mean, the draw for Switch games, is to be able to play portably. And what are the chances that you're going to be sitting in a place that's got a good enough Wi-Fi connection to be able to play Overwatch, much less play Overwatch productively through a Nintendo product? I know I'm being so harsh right now.
Yeah, I don't understand. The same as you play any other game portably on Switch. When your significant other is using the TV, you just play it portably.
I'm not talking about at home. I'm talking about like out and about when you're not near your home Wi-Fi.
Yeah, then you don't get to play Overwatch then. I don't.
Okay. Well, I can understand some people's frustration with that, though. Why don't I just play it on the preferred console? But that doesn't make it a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
This feels like unnecessary poo-pooing. If you don't want to play on the Switch, then don't.
I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit.
I know. This is a strangely negative version of Scott Clark over it. I'm not usually on the positive end of the spectrum.
I know. Do we switch roles a little bit? Do you like it?
No, I feel uncomfortable here.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll try to keep it down a little bit. That's all we've got for news this week. There wasn't a whole lot happening. I feel like everything that was news related this week in the entertainment industry was solely focused on Disney, and
yes, yep.
That was all that happened in the world this week.
Who are Ray's parents?
Yeah, we could talk a long bit about Star Wars, but that trailer, man, looked pretty good. Looked pretty good, but we can't say anything because some people are apparently avoiding trailers, so we can't spoil it.
That's an annoying. Emperor Palpatine's back.
Oh man, you just went there.
I did this last time we talked about Star Wars as well, actually.
Okay. All right.
I did. You can edit it. You can edit it out. That's fine. You can bleep me there.
No, that's fine. It's fine. It's all good. Anyway, that's going to do it for news, but we do have some upcoming Patreon episodes. Actually, today we recorded our long-promised Zelda edition of the Retro Outsider. I sat down with Chris Behrensmeyer and Chris Owens, and we talked about Zelda 1, Zelda 2, and Zelda, it's not Zelda 3, but A Link to the Past on Super Nintendo. We talked about an hour and 10 minutes about those three games, and we didn't go into full depth as a lot of podcasts do. We just kind of reminisced and had some fun about which ones were our favorites, which ones were our least favorites. You probably already know.
I can guess what your preference is, yes.
Well, yeah, that's pretty safe to say. But it may not be available as soon as you listen to this episode, but it will be available sometime tomorrow as of this recording. So in the next few days, you should have access to that. If you are a Patreon subscriber, that is exclusive to those that are subscribed to that service. Also, we're going to be doing an episode before the end of the month, a Break the Seal episode for Horizon Zero Dawn. We are bringing in a community member for that one, Mr. Jordan Derringer High. Recently finished that game for the first time, and he's excited to talk to us about his experience, so stay tuned for that. If you are interested in any of our Patreon episodes, be sure to head over to patreon.com/thegocast. $3 a month will give you access to all of our additional bonus content, as well as get you some extra entries into our monthly drawing that we open up to the community. So be sure to do that if you'd like to help support what we do, and we really do appreciate it. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. I have some more sponsors to thank very quickly that are helping support over at the our R2V2 event that's coming up next month. First off, Octane Inner Lounge, which is located at 124 North Main Street in Rockford. Fantastic restaurant, great beer selection, and awesome staff. Really enjoy that place, so be sure to check them out. And also want to give a shout out to the Rockford Area Convention and Visitors Bureau in Rockford for helping to support what we're doing over here. It feels really great putting on an event and getting the support from the city that I reside in. Really do appreciate that. So for this week's From the Outside In topic, we're talking about collector's editions of our favorite video games. You know, I'm talking about those huge boxes that include statues, strategy guides, or some form of collectible to show off your love for the series or an individual game. So first thing I want to talk about with you, Zach, is how often do you actually purchase these collector's editions, if at all, and why or why not?
Well, it used to be when I was younger, I would buy these collector's editions left and right.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit just more disposable income before you have proper bills, I guess. But there was just always something like, you're young, you're like, I got to prove how much I love Alan Wake. I need the collector's edition. What's 20 extra bucks? But then you start living on your own, like, boy, I don't have enough room for all this stuff.
Then you actually move. And you have to like pack all that stuff up.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you have to keep moving. You're like, oh, this is not how much do I really care about this Aiden Pierce statue.
Aiden Pierce.
I definitely have a Watch Dogs Collector's Edition.
Do you really?
Yeah, with a nice statue of Aiden Pierce.
Nice. So you did it when you were younger, and you don't do it as much now.
Yeah, I don't do it as much now. Now it's just if I really care. I got it for, I get like one a year, maybe one every other year.
Yeah.
It's really slowed down.
I can't tell you the last time I bought a collector's edition. I'm not a big collector outside of my niche stuff. And I got a comment to read with you that, let's see here. Kevin Honigford said, I have for a few games, and it left a sour taste in my mouth because the games I bought them for ended up disappointing me. Star Wars The Old Republic most. Now I have a constant reminder of being disappointed in a game I was excited for. I haven't been down that mode. I feel like if I were going to buy a collector's edition, I would be buying a collector's edition after I already played the game. And like now I'm going to go buy that version of it because I want that statue or something like that. So I probably wouldn't run into the same thing that Kevin did here. But another one here was Rico Ramirez, who said it really depends on the game or series. If it's one of my favorites, then yes. I have a lot of collector's editions with statues, anything with comic cures I have, Legend of Zelda and Final Fantasy. And I put this comment in there because I echo his sentiment exactly. Anything that I collect that's not a game that I'm buying just to play is going to either be going towards my Nintendo collection, which is the cartridges I'm trying to complete, or my Zelda collection. I think Zelda is the only collector's edition I actually physically own right now. I own, 5 copies of Breath of the Wild because I bought the Master Edition, I bought the Collector's Edition, I bought the Reader's Edition that came with a book, and then a version for, So that's really the only one I own right now. I don't have those fancy statues that everybody else does, but I'm with Rico when it comes to Zelda. Not superheroes. I assume that's you.
Yeah, I got more than a few. I don't know. I think I may have every video game superhero collection edition I could think of. I have, except for DC Universe, which I guess we'll talk. I have a comment for later. But if I could quickly talk about Kevin's comment, I've definitely been burned by buying collection editions for games and then not liking the game.
Oh, really? What's an example?
That stings. I guess the Order 1886 is a pretty good example.
Really? I like that game.
I like it as well, but I didn't like it enough to have a statue of it.
Gotcha.
But now I got a statue of it.
I feel like you should have got a really short statue, considering the length of that game.
There's
Thanks for the pity laugh, man.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Splinter Cell Blacklist is a good example of buying a collector's edition and then not liking the game at all. But it's just the bag you always see me carry around at E3.
Yeah.
That comes from a collector's edition of a game that I did not enjoy very much, Defiance.
Okay.
So I'm wearing my bag every day as a reminder.
But it's a nice bag, right?
Of course, yeah. It was a very well-made laptop bag.
There you go. I had a couple other comments on here that kind of echoed my thoughts as well. Brand new member Taim Dahan said, I never did. Most of what I bought was the digital deluxe edition of Infinite Warfare, one of my biggest regrets. And his comment coupled with Chip Halt's comment, who said, I have a few collector's editions from my WoW days. However, since then, I'd rather save the money and buy more games. Also, much to my own surprise, I've been getting more games digitally than in physical form and really don't care about the cosmetic stuff that generally comes with digital deluxe or collector's editions. And this is a huge thing for me, too, because when I buy games, as you know, I've leaned more heavily towards the digital realm, just because it's easier for me. I like scrolling through my library
Yeah, you're lazy. I understand.
But as I've gotten older, man, I just would rather not have the stuff on the shelf outside of the collection that I really care about. I don't have much of an affinity for the statues and stuff. If I had those, I feel like I would just want to display them in my classroom, and there's no way I'm putting a $300 collector's edition statue in a classroom full of fourth graders that might break something, because that's happened before. So
that would be bad. Yeah, it really does come down to a space issue, I guess, doesn't it?
At some point, man, I haven't had to move because I've lived in my house now for like 13 years. And so I haven't had to move my NES collection because it's only been here. I can't imagine boxing all that up and and getting it someplace. That just sounds like a nightmare to me.
I mean, I'm thinking about the God of War collector's editions or the Wolfenstein 2 ones were cool. And where GameStop put them on like deep discounts.
Yeah.
And I wanted them, but I was like, where am I going to put it? And that was the biggest concern.
And I feel like that we've gotten to the day where some of these collector's editions are snatched up so quickly because a lot of people think that they're going to be valuable and they're going to be able to flip them at some point. Yeah. So you never know if one's going to be really rare or if it's going to be so plentiful and be in a bargain bin. So it's all about finding that sweet spot of when you're going to get it.
Don't worry, I got one of those.
Do you? What's that?
Well, I don't want to. I mean, we'll get there later, won't we?
We're getting there later. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on. The next question I got is what collector's editions you do own at this point that are proudly displayed on one of your shelves?
Oh man, I got a few. But if you want me to just talk about the one that is actually worth money, I got that Nier Automata Black Box Edition.
Yeah, I don't even know what's all in that. You've talked about it before, but
yeah, I mean it's a very fancy black box that is a stylized case, and it just comes with the art book and a little statue of 2B. But it's the only way you can get that statue of 2B. Okay, they don't sell it elsewhere. But because nobody thought that game was going to be big, they did not make very many of that collector's edition, and it is now worth hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
So I am so proud I bought it. It wasn't, the stuff in it is not even worth $190 that it was charged for originally, and especially now with Square Enix's ridiculous shipping and handling fees. But I needed to have it, obviously.
Now, I assume you've opened it. You're not one of those?
Yeah, no, I opened it, of course. Well, how am I going to get to the game otherwise? Even though I did buy it digitally because I didn't want to wait. I couldn't wait for the mail to come in, so I had to play it minute one.
I've been there. I did that with Fallout 4 as well. So
yeah, I did with Spider-Man as well. But the Black Box Edition is cool because I have a story of even the Nier fan I was didn't get to the pre-order fast enough because they only made like 1,500 or 2,000 of these things, and I got put on a waiting list, and they gave me an email like, hey, you have a 2-hour window right now if you want to buy it. So I had to go to the bathroom while at work and order it from in there.
Did you really?
Yeah. I was the only barista too, so I left that store unattended to buy the Black Box Edition.
And did anybody come in the store, or were you that quick on the draw to
you know what? Purchase? I couldn't tell you. I was too busy ordering the Black Box Edition.
Wow.
Somebody could have come in and robbed the register and left. I would never have been any the wiser.
So was it a situation where you had to like refresh and it sold out very quickly, or was it just not popular enough?
It was I was on a waiting list, and I like somebody canceled, and they're like, "Hey, you're next on the waiting list, and you have like 2 hours to order it, or we'll move on to the next person."
Huh. And so you did.
Yeah. Of course, I couldn't. Kidding me? I wasn't gonna wait around for that.
What else you got the collection wise?
I really like the Arkham Origins Collector's Edition. It's got a pretty sweet statue of the Joker. He's like stabbing a table with a bunch of creepy TVs behind him, and it lights up.
I think I've seen that one actually.
Yeah, that's really cool. I do have the Arkham City Collector's Edition. I got a bunch. I got Dark Souls 3. Rise of the Tomb Raider was cool because it came in this giant crate and it had hay in it as well. So it felt like you were like cracking open a loot crate.
Oh, like a real loot crate.
Yeah, well, like a plain like storage crate.
Yeah,
It was pretty sweet. So that was really cool. It had a really nice statue of Lara in there. But I think my favorite collector's edition is the Spider-Man one.
Yeah, you talked about that one because there's something in it that was somewhat of a spoiler for the game, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it came with a statue, and they said don't open the statue. It's a spoiler.
Oh wow! So at least they put it on there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, they had a little card on top that says, "Hey, like here's the art book, here's the blah blah blah, your digital code, your steel book. Don't open the statue yet. It's a spoiler."
Wow, that's actually kind of cool that they did that.
Yeah, it was pretty. Well, it was really cool because then you played the whole game going like, "What is the statue gonna be?" Like my guess was like, "Oh, Spider-Man must be on the Goblin Glider," and then you open it and it's like this really cool statue where Spider-Man's on top of the Sinister Six basically, and it's like intertwined really cool. It's like this almost like mountain of their stuff. Like it's got like the Scorpion's tail and Doc Ock's tentacles. That's where the big spoiler was, I guess, with Doc Ock. And it had like Mr. Negative's sword, Electro's jacket, Vulture's wings on there. Like it had like an item from each of the Sinister Six, and it makes up this one like really awesome statue. So it was really cool that you played the whole game and you're like, "What is the statue?" Then I opened it up and I was like, "Oh my god, this thing is glorious."
You know, I kind of want that to be a thing in collector's editions, where there is some mystery statue that if you opened it, it would be a spoiler for the story, because of exactly what you're talking about. Like you were thinking about it throughout the entire playthrough of the game because you actually had the what's the word I'm thinking of? The willpower to not open it, and that had to have made the game that much more exciting for you.
Right. Well, it certainly made the purchasing collector's edition more exciting.
Yeah, I mean that would be a big selling point for me, honestly. Knowing I had a spoiler sitting there that I could do, I don't know. That would be really awesome.
And that collection edition is another fun story. Well, actually more of an irresponsible story because I was moving to Kansas City like while it was coming out, and I kept checking different sites for different collection for the collection edition, and it kept being sold out. Eventually, one freed up, but they like had marked it up. Like it was like an extra $40 compared to the MSRP, which is a crap move. And I didn't have the money because I was moving, so I opened up a new credit card.
Nice.
To get that collector's edition. Yeah. That's...
Could have been like, "Hey, Scott, can you spot me this, for a little bit?"
No, I'm not going to. I've never borrowed that. That's crazy.
I'm actually really jealous of that Spider-Man one because I'm not even as big of a fan as you are. Obviously, I don't think anybody exists that is. But they have that statue sitting at Disc Replay, one of our sponsors.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. And I was actually eyeballing. I was like, "Man, that's the one Zack has." And I was taking a closer look at it after you had described it. And
God, isn't that just a gorgeous statue?
It really is. Like I said, not as big a fan as you. I thought about it for a minute because it looks that good.
It's a tremendous. I wish more statues looked that good, or had that much thought put into them.
Yeah, I agree.
Instead of just like Batman in a cool pose, they actually put in the work to have all those characters represented.
Yeah, a lot of thought and love went into it.
Yeah, and I'm so surprised that collection edition sold out as quickly as it did. Because they
really,
I mean, yeah, because you think they would have just made millions of that thing, but I guess not. But I don't even think PlayStation knew they were going to sell 14 million copies of that freaking game, though.
Probably not.
I don't think anybody had that expectation. But I do have a comment here from Low Sugar Attack, which is a great username. "I purchased the collector's editions for DC Universe Online, my favorite, and still have the Batman statue it came with. When my daughter is dropped off at my work, she loves to play with it while I finish work."
That's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, that's ballsy play. Additionally, I got the Xbox 360 Collector's Edition for Alien vs. Predator, and the facehugger that it came with had the tail cut off, which was a known issue, and a replacement one was set for free. I looked it up, this Collector's Edition for AVP. It looked pretty sweet.
So does he have both now, or did he have to return the one with the tail cut off?
I would guess he has both.
Because I would have to imagine that one's going to be valuable, right?
The one with the tail cut off?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could just cut the tail off of your own, I guess.
He probably gave it to his daughter.
That's probably what happened, and he just said that the tail was cut off. Right?
We're on to you, Low Sugar Attack. But that Batman statue for DC Universe Online is really good.
What does it look like? I haven't seen it.
It's like a really cool pose, like Batman's like cape is flared up. Yeah. It's just pretty cool. It's got like a lot of dynamicism. Is that a thing? Is that a word?
Dynamicism.
It looks like the pose is in motion, which is cool for a statue.
Nice. I like it. I got a comment also from someone from our Discord community who's apparently I mispronounced his name last week when we announced him as a new member. So I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly because he corrected me on Discord. Lala Merwaffle. Apparently I pronounce it Lala Merwaffle, and it's actually Lala Merwaffle.
There you go.
Anyway, he or she says, I absolutely purchase collector's editions. My favorite is my Catherine collectors. The original release came with a pizza box from the bar they go to as the actual box the game comes in, a soundtrack, the game, pair of boxers that match the pair the main character wears, a t-shirt that matches one from the game, and a Catherine with a C pillowcase. And the re-release one is just as cool. The new one has a box that looks just like the tower you climb, a soundtrack, hardcover art book, steelbook, and an adorable boxers wearing sheep plush. And I read his comment because, number one, I really like the game Catherine. But what a weird, what a weird freaking game to have a collector's edition for. I mean, a pair of boxers and he obviously loves it. He or she obviously loves that collector's edition. But if you had lined up a bunch of games and said which one do you think is going to be getting a expensive collector's edition, Catherine would have been at the low end of my guesses.
That's actually the crazy thing about the Catherine's collector's edition is all of that was about only $20 more than the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was a really good deal. And Atlas kind of does really good deals in their collector's editions.
Huh.
Persona 5 one was a good deal as well. But that Catherine pillowcase with Catherine with a C, she is in a sexually seductive pose on that, and I used that pillowcase for years.
Oh, you actually had this collector's edition?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did not know that.
It's that's a good game, man.
I'm actually really tempted to go back and play it again because full body edition comes out here next not next week but the week after, I think.
Yeah, they add that third Catherine, which throws me off, but
yeah, if you know the story,
yeah, it's very very much a pull between the whole game ends up like they reveal that's what your morality meter means.
Yep.
Do you remember that? Like that's a pretty big reveal, and that's kind of the whole game is centered around that. It's kind of tough to throw in a third angle on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to do that, but and what was crazy is that was a great mix of interesting puzzle gameplay with the story element. I've never seen a story mode like that in a puzzle game, and it worked. Don't know why. Yeah,
well, I mean, it was as tense as the moments where you had to like hide your girlfriend from your fiance.
Right. It was a very bizarre game. Definitely a game that I felt uncomfortable playing. I kept looking over my shoulder to see if my wife was,
right.
Down.
She's judging how you're like lying to your fiance. She's like, no, lie so easily, do you, Scott?
Yeah. Well, and it's not even that, but the some of the stuff in the puzzle portion of it were freaking weird.
Like the giant baby and stuff.
The giant baby legitimately disturbed me the first time I played that. That was very, very bizarre. As for my own collection, like I mentioned, the only real thing I have is that Zelda. The biggest thing I got is that Zelda's Master Edition, which actually has a Master Sword inside it that I have yet to see what it actually looks like in person because it is in the box sealed up. And
yeah, you're a crazy person, man. You got to open these things up.
No, I learned from my buddy Nate to not open up things as much as possible.
Oh, is this where you got that terrible habit?
Yes.
Is Nate Lucas's fault?
Yeah. Nate is actually is listening in on this episode because he's helping produce this episode. Nate, can I tell the story? Tell your story? So Nate, when he was younger, was gifted a NES for his birthday. and from his mom, and his grandmother also bought him an NES for his birthday on the same day. So when he decided that he was going to open the one and play it, and then just kept the other in a closet or whatever. And to this day, he still has that original NES unopened, still in the original shrink wrap, and he's been offered thousands of dollars for it and has said no. So ever since then, I have started buying 2 copies of things that have a collector's edition with them, and some of them have stayed on my shelf, and some have been opened. So.
I would have ripped open that NES and put one in the living room and one in my room. And I always got access to the NES.
Yeah, and that hurts my heart. really does. But yes, Nate is the one that got me on that bandwagon of keeping things sealed up and not opening them just in case. Because
I guess I do kind of wish my Marvel Phase 1 Blu-ray set was unopened.
Yeah,
because fools be willing to pay quite a sum for that thing now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know that it would look really cool with the Master Sword statue, like on my desk or whatever. But then it might get broken, and I don't know. There's something about the box. I don't know if you've seen the box for that collector's edition. It's a big black box. It's got to be like 1.5 feet tall, and it just looks foreboding. I don't know. Almost, it takes up a good portion of my shelf. And I can't remember who was it. Was it J.J. Abrams or Neil Blomkamp or somebody?
The mystery box?
The mystery box. Who?
Yeah, that was Abrams. Yeah,
was it Abrams?
He bought like a $15 Magic Store gift box or whatever.
No, it wasn't even. That's not the story I heard. The story I heard was a gift from like his father or something.
I think it was his grandfather. They went to a Magic store. I just watched his TED Talk a few weeks ago, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, well, it was like, you know how like when you go to conventions, like E3, they do that like $15 blind box has $45 worth of value.
Yep.
It was that for Magic kit stuff, and he wanted to learn Magic as his kid, so his grandpa bought him this mystery box, and he just never opened it, and he kept not opening it, and he's like, it's more powerful that I don't know what's in there than I do know.
Yeah. I kind of like that story, and even though I know what's in that box, there's still a little bit of a mystery that, for all I know, it's not even in there.
Right? Yeah, you don't know what it feels like. Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You're so crazy, but I can see what you're saying.
well, thanks, man. I appreciate you seeing my ways to some degree. So, are there any collector's editions that were either too expensive or too rare for you to get your hands on?
Yeah, well, I'll start here by reading Sai Quinones's comment. My favorite collection edition so far has been the Dishonored 2 that came with Corvo's mask. I love that the series and the mask looks absolutely awesome. That was a game I spent a lot of money on and wasn't disappointed like what happened with Titanfall 2. The first game is better, fight me. I will fight you, Sai, you're wrong. Collector's edition, I wish I could have gotten was Nier Automata's Black Box edition. Love that game, and that's a sexy collectible to have. Sai, it is sexy, let me tell you. But I didn't just read this so I could brag. I also wanted Titan. Do you remember the Titanfall 1 collector's edition at all, Scott?
No, I don't. What was in it?
It came as this gargantuan box that if you were using for moving would really come in handy. And it is this massive diorama of a giant Titan and a bunch of soldiers are fighting it and climbing on it and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it is, I can't oversell how big this box is. And that is a collection edition I always wanted. And there was a used game store that had it, that every time I went in there, I would just stare at it longingly because I wanted it so bad. And then when they're going out of business, they said I could get like anything in the store for 40% off. But I just couldn't. I was like, where in the world am I going to put this giant Titan?
Well, how much would it have been at 40% off?
I think they were selling it for $200.
Uh-huh.
So it would have been like a little over 100, like 120, I guess, if I'm doing quick math.
Yeah, but what would you do with it?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. But I do regret a little bit not getting it, but then I think about how many times I've moved since then. But that statue is cool, and it is laughably large.
Yeah, that sounds kind of. I wonder if it's valuable now. I can't imagine they had that many of them, and that many of them have survived that well.
I mean, they had theirs with the box. I don't think it was unopened, but it was like $200, so it's not that crazy considering the size of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish I had it. Another, I guess while I'm still on the topic, another one I wish I had was they did a Dragon Dragoon 10th anniversary box, which is Drakengard, the OG Yoko Taro franchise. And they did a little 10th anniversary box for that, but it's Japanese only, so it would mean very little to me realistically, and it is hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
So I don't. I will get it one day because it is Yoko Taro related, but I guess I don't need it right now. Can I just quickly say I also want that Spider-Man PS4 Pro?
Oh yeah, the red one?
Yeah, I want that so bad. But I guess it's not really a collector's edition.
I thought Chris had one. CB.
He traded his Arkham Knight PS4 Pro for a Spider-Man one to somebody.
Oh, okay. So he actually has the Spider-Man one.
Yeah, I think so. And it's going to suck for him that it's going to leave his house at the end of September.
Oh, because you're going to take it?
Yeah, I'm saying I'm going to rob CB. That's what I'm saying.
All that stuff in his basement, and you're going to take a PS4.
You know what's funny? All those things, that Little Samson and everything, I could still tell you the thing I would want to steal the most is that Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
It's the emotional connection, Scott.
You could literally get 2 handfuls of enough stuff to go buy you several Spider-Man PS4s, and that's the thing you're going to take.
That's very logical what you're saying.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, but I'm still probably going to steal it, yeah. Sorry, CB. We had a good run as friends, I'm not going to lie to you.
He's not listening, don't worry.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I'll be your wingman. Make that happen.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll sneak you a copy of Little Samson.
Sure, I appreciate that. Help a brother out.
You're getting a better deal.
Yeah, I would say so. David Michael in our Facebook group said, I will for Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I put this one on here because I will not be getting the one for Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I really, really want it. Oh my God. If you guys have not seen the collector's edition of Cloud on that motorcycle with the Buster Sword, it is one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen. And I know whether or not you were on board with Final Fantasy VII being remade and whether or not you consider it a new game, that thing looks sexy as hell. I'm sorry. It looks so good. I actually saw somebody posting pictures of it today where they actually posed it with fire behind it and everything. So it looked like it was actually...
That sounds nice.
Dude, it looks so good. I will find those pictures and share them with you. We
saw it in the flesh, you and I.
Yeah, we did. And it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. It actually is a good, foot and a half long.
It is massive. I wish it was a statue, not a action figure.
Right.
But it is. That thing is size. It does feel like you're getting your money's worth a little bit. I have bought some stuff for the Square Enix store. I'm not super happy with their action figure quality.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is a nice looking figure.
That is one that I feel like if I had, I would actually put in a glass case or a plastic case.
Yeah, that's what they had in a glass case there.
Well, I mean, for good reason. That's out in the public, and you don't want anybody touching it. But
somebody would have 5-finger discounted it. But David, I'm going to give you a quick piece of advice buying from the Square Enix store because they only sell their stuff through there, so you're not going to get it at GameStop or anything. Also, put money aside to buy a digital copy of Final Fantasy VII because their shipping and handling is trash, and you probably won't get that collector's edition for a week and a half, 2 weeks until after that game comes out.
If you can even get it. I thought those things sold out immediately, didn't they?
Did they? Wasn't it $400 or something?
Yeah.
It was $330, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. $330.
Yeah. That's a lot of money to sell out.
I'll double check and look it up, but I feel I feel pretty confident. I mean,
maybe
any game that's going to have a collector's edition, that one would sell out.
If David did buy it, then I'm just telling you, just spend the extra couple bucks. Yeah, if you're spending $330 already, what's another $60 to make sure you actually play it right away?
Yeah, then you can keep it in the box and make it valuable.
See? And it's we played that game, Scott. It's real good.
Yeah, we did. It was really good. Shockingly good. I was already super stoked about doing it, and wow, Nate is actually showing us the Square. There is a waiting list. So it's not sold out, but there is a waiting list. So you may not get it.
Nate coming through as a producer.
Yeah, I know. I like this. But yeah, that game, we were really excited about that game going in. and it surpassed both of our expectations.
Yeah,
I think.
Didn't it walk away as the go game of the show?
I believe so. I think it was because, and to be fair, we were at E3, and that was a pretty killer booth, and the way they presented it was awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, Doom Eternal played. I still like the way it played better, but Final Fantasy VII was neck and neck, I guess.
Yeah.
Day
one for me. And a lot of people are complaining about this being episodic, and we're only gonna get like the first disc from the original game on this. I'm okay with that. Honestly, it's not like I'm going to be hanging on the edge of my seat for what's going to happen next in the story, right? And you always talk about how you like the shorter games. This is a way to give us a shorter game. I don't need to have the entire thing all at once. I'm okay putting my 20 hours in or whatever and then moving on.
That demo was I would have paid $10 for that demo. It's so good.
Why don't they sell that demo, man? People would pay. I mean, you could even do $5, but I think people would pay $10 for that demo. I really think that is. People complain about microtransactions and everything like that. That is an easy way to make some money, to sell a demo.
It's really good is what we're saying.
It's really good. I've got one more. Mark Graves just briefly mentioned BioShock 1 and 2. I honestly don't even remember exactly what those collector's editions were. I want to say it was a Big Daddy with a little sister.
Yeah, it was a Big Daddy for one. I remember I think a lot of them were broken.
Yeah.
I want to say, just like the Assassin's Creed 1 collection edition, which I got, came with a bunch of broken statues as well. But BioShock 2 was really nice. It was like very like retro themed, and it came with the soundtrack on vinyl before the vinyl craze happened.
Yeah, all of a sudden it started getting super popular again.
It was weird to see it on vinyl then.
Yeah, they did it before it was cool. Is that what you're saying?
They kind of did. I'm not saying BioShock 2 kickstarted the vinyl revolution, but
and as much as I wasn't a big fan of how it was implemented in the game, I think a statue of that big sister would have been pretty cool. The design of that character was awesome.
Yeah, you put that alongside the Big Daddy, that would be a pretty cool shelf.
Yeah, but I don't think I could afford that now, especially like you said, the Big Daddies were notoriously broken, and finding a quality one would probably be pretty expensive. So,
well, especially that game blew up in a way no one expected too. So I imagine that is not a cheap collector's edition now.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, it's just like with your Nier Automata one. And the last one I'll mention is the Assassin's Creed Black Flag 4 collector's edition. I think CB actually has one. I could be wrong, but it's Kenway up on the ship holding a sword out with an actual pirate flag.
Does it come with the whole ship?
No. It's just like him standing on he might be like standing on the mast or holding the mast or something like that. Just because I really like Black Flag. Actually, Taim from our community as of today posted in there what your favorite Assassin's Creed game was, and we were going back and forth how I really liked Black Flag. I know a lot of people hated it, but that one really did something for me, and I thought Kenway was a cool character, even though he kind of fell into the Assassin's Guild. But
I think
that'd be a pretty cool one.
Hey, I have more. I think Assassin's Creed 3 is the best. So you and I are both in the unpopular opinion camp.
Yeah, but see, the thing is with Assassin's Creed 3, and we've talked about this before, is there it is. Nate has shown us the picture of it. It's actually got a giant crate for the Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and then Kenway standing on a mast. Man, that just looks cool. He's got the red sash going on. He's holding up the sword.
Great radio. Yeah, no, the statue does look really good, actually. I remember I think the UK Assassin's Creed 3 had Connor climbing through trees statue.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. That was freaking sweet. I wish I had that.
But going back to Assassin's Creed 3, the beginning, that is the best intro of any Assassin's Creed game. Hands down.
Yes.
I'll pull a sigh right now and say, fight me. That is the best intro of any Assassin's Creed game.
That was a Metal Gear Solid 2 caliber bait and switch.
Yeah, that's a good call. And it totally got me because I remember the moment when the game freezes and then the Assassin's Creed logo comes on and I went, what? Like it was, it did one of those. So
yeah, it was really good.
All right, so that's going to do it for the topic. Man, that was actually a lot of fun Thanks to everybody who wrote in these comments on Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Stay tuned in those same social media places for our question for next week. I promise I will have it up earlier than I did this week. I was a little late. Things have been a little bit busy with some R2V2 planning. So we've also got some new Facebook members to say hello to. If you have not joined our community already, head over to facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. We've got lots of community members on there. We keep news posted, and everybody's just really pleasant to be around. If you want to have some good gaming conversation, head over there. Want to say hello over there to Chris Sessions, Mom's Basement Gaming, Taim Dahan, Carlos Muniz, Amadou Suray, Sam A., Marcus Grant, and Sam Hassan. Thanks for joining over there. And we've also got some new people over on our Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord community, the link is in the show notes for this episode. We got quite a few people to say hello to. First off, Beaker, with a couple X's on either side of it. Danzer, someone that goes by Living on a Prayer. Logan Honigford, that's Kevin's son. What's up, Logan? Tori Melching, longtime listener of the Hollywood Outsider, as well as the Gaming Outsider. And BioInfinite, which is
shout out to Tori.
Yeah.
Tori Melching has great podcast listening habits, such as Smirk. Tori gave me my first piece of fan art ever.
Oh, really? What was that?
It was a little a canvas painted Smirk logo.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Proudly on display here in the Parkerson household.
That's very, very cool. She's super nice and has been very supportive of everything we've been doing for a long time. So shout out to Tori. She's good people. Speaking of good people, we've got a iTunes review from someone that goes by the name of Ahmad Haj 121, and the title of the review is Really Good Podcast. And he or she says, I've listened and do listen to multiple gaming podcasts, but here I really admire the interaction with listeners. They often post multiple questions and discuss answers on the podcast. It's more engaging that way. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Ahmad. Really appreciate that, and exactly what we're going for. That's why we read the comments. We want to interact with you guys, and we'll do so on our Facebook page and all the social media, as well as our website. We've also got Zach's written review of Control up on the website. You won't want to miss that. The website is thegamingoutsider.com, as well as all of our other reviews. We got a lot more coming this week. I got a lot of editing and writing to do. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the games we've actually been playing. All right, Zach, before I hand the reins over to you to talk about new releases, got to say thank you to some more of our sponsors. First off, The Hollywood Outsider, my old podcast, and a good group of people over there. TheHollywoodOutsider.com. You can listen to them the same place you listen to this podcast. Also, Goodwill of Northern Illinois. Really appreciate you guys supporting R2V2. As previously mentioned, Disc Replay of Rockford is also sponsoring us. They are located in Rockford at 6085 East State Street. You can buy at the store, or you can actually buy online at discreplay.com/Rockford. Last one here is In Tandem Financial. Chad DeMar is a financial services professional who does great work. You can find him if you need any financial help at intandemfinancial.com. And then Notebook Entertainment. Wyatt Elliott's a buddy of mine who makes short films in the area. You may have heard of him. He does a series called The Deadersons, and he's got another series called F My Life, which is another short film series. And you can follow him at notebookmovies.com. Thanks so much for the support, guys. Zach, take it away.
Sure. First up, we got a brave choice in Hookbots, a platform fighter that is stylized after the Smash Brothers game.
Why do you say brave?
Because I feel like that is a genre wholly dominated by one game.
Smash Brothers.
Yeah. I mean, we were just talking before the show how obsessive that community is about new character reveals and everything.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a bold move. That's coming out on PC, Mac, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on August 28th. We got a head spun. I couldn't make heads or tails of this game.
Is this the one that looks like Penny Arcade characters?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's like an adventure game. But there's also like live action footage happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of point and click adventures on this week's new releases.
So it's quite a release week.
Mm-hmm.
But Headspun coming out on PC, PS4, Switch, Xbox One, August 28th. Agent A, a puzzle in disguise, is a puzzle game that Chris Berensmeyer is actually looking forward to, where you play as like a spy, but you solve puzzles. PC, Mac, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, August 29th.
I got a real Professor Layton vibe from that trailer.
Yeah, wasn't there a puzzle? I think Telltale did like a game kind of like puzzle solving game like this back in the day.
Okay.
But anyway, Grand Brick Shooter coming to PC and Switch August 29th. This is a horizontal shooter rather than a vertical shooter, but it looked tough as nails.
I believe that would be pronounced Grand Brie Shooter.
That's definitely... I'm not going to do that. It's bricks. Come on.
Well, if you were a P, you would say Grand Prix, right?
Yeah, you are correct. However, I can't admit any fault, so it's Grand Bricks.
This is another one that CB will be all over. He loves shmups.
Yes, that is a CB game written all over it.
I agree.
And then we have a game we helped unveil back in the day, Scott. Decay of Logos.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming out on PS4. It has a staggered release, so it's PS4 on the 27th, Switch on the 29th, and then PC and Xbox One get it on the 30th. This game is really cool. It looks like one of the first in the post Breath of the Wild era, I'll call it, because I think in the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to see a lot of games try to be Breath of the Wild.
Oh, there's like 2 or 3 on the horizon that are like borderline straight up ripoffs of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I think that's going to be much like Ocarina of Time before. I think Breath of the Wild in a few years is going to be remembered as one of the most important games ever made.
You're probably not wrong.
And then the Lord of the Rings adventure card game coming out everything under the moon, PC, Switch, Xbox One, PS4 on the August 29th. Is this not coming to mobile?
I don't know. I did not see it on my list. Wow. I could be mistaken.
You would think, because this game is, let's make no bones about it, this is a Hearthstone game.
Yeah.
With a new skin, with characters I like, so maybe I'll check it out.
A little more interested.
But I feel like collectible card games kind of live or die based on their mobile versions.
I would agree with you. I can't imagine making a CCG game and not put it on mobile.
It's a perfect home. Oh, man, we got a lot of games here. Heave Ho, PC and Switch, August 29th. That kind of looks like a Loco Roco-esque game, which I was surprised to see. And then, Newt 1. This game made me think of you, Scott. PC, PS4, Switch, Xbox One on the 30th. This is a game where it's a 3D platformer, but as you complete more of the areas, you're bringing color and music back to the levels. Sounds
perfect. I'm on board.
You're about to use a phrase you don't like to use.
I was.
No, yeah. The trailer was actually, very endearing. My heart was warmed.
Aww.
By watching you bring life back to these areas. And then we got another CB joint here, Blair Witch, coming on PC and Xbox One August 30th. That's part of Game Pass, so you save some money that way.
Yes.
And that's how the next horror game from Bloober Games, which is a ridiculous name for horror game studios, but what are you going to do?
See, honestly, I don't even know if I would be interested in this game if it didn't have the Blair Witch name attached to it. But I love that it's on Game Pass, so I can just try it without having to pay anything extra.
Right. Yeah, Layers of Fear didn't sell me. Their other game. I think they did a VR game, I want to say, as well.
Mm-hmm. There's a second Layers of Fear game coming too.
Yeah, that's right. The only reason I'm ever interested in that studio is because Toby Gard is a part of it, and he created Lara Croft.
Okay, fair enough.
We got Ninja Saviors Return of the Warriors on PS4 and Switch, August 30th. It's an old school style 2D platformer. Re-Legend on PC, August 30th. That's looks like a very Minecraft-esque build and collect kind of deal.
Yep.
Unlucky 7 on PC, August 30th. Oh man, what was this one? So many games to remember. I remember it kind of looked cool. Darn it.
I don't remember what it is either. I watch all these trailers and I cannot remember what Unlucky 7 is.
Yeah, that's the trick is you look at all these. It's like a spacefaring adventure game that's like mildly interactive, but they said it's like a journey through. It's a spacewalk about love, hate, and the consuming of human flesh.
Wow, that's pretty deep.
That's what's kind of neat. And then finally, Supermassive Games coming back to the forefront, following up Until Dawn with The Dark Pictures Man of Medan on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, August 30th. Their horror anthology series coming out on Friday.
And that's really cool because it's kind of like Telltale in that they're like episodic, but they're not like each one is a standalone story, but they're all in the same universe or the same vibe.
Yeah, I think it's just like the old horror like VHS and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think it's just short horror stories.
I'm really hoping that they all like tie together somehow at the end, and you don't know that until the last one.
I just want them all to be introduced by Peter Stormare.
Oh, so do I, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't.
There is a narrator character, isn't there?
I don't know. I actually played this one at E3, and there wasn't any narration. It was just the characters. They just kind of gave you some of the gameplay, and
Oh,
it was very Until Dawn.
It seems like it would be well served by having a Rod Serling-esque narrator that intros the story.
Enter a man.
Yes.
A man of Medan.
Fearing the ocean. And then we got a banger to end the week out. Astral Chain. Next game for Platinum Games, developers of such hits as Bayonetta and Nier Automata, is a Switch exclusive published by Nintendo coming out on August 30th. I can't wait for this game.
Yeah, you about lost your mind when this trailer dropped, I remember.
Yeah, I was very excited about this one.
Yeah. So that's the one at the top
game.
of your list, I assume?
Yeah, definitely. And it's been since Nier Automata, so 2.5 years since Platinum put out a game.
Yeah.
And they're a multi-game studio as well, so it's they usually knock out like at least one a year.
Good call.
Okay, nice. I don't know.
My pick of the week is going to be Man of Medan, just because I loved Until Dawn. So
I want to play that as well. I'm not super rushed to get it because I know it'll be a while until it's done, so I don't need to buy it this week. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
But Astral Chain is about Neo Tokyo, where you play as a police cop who has a demon bound to their soul. So there's no excuse not to play that.
Yeah, that has Zach Parkerson written all over it, from developer to crazy story to it's all you, man.
Well, thank you. Yeah, but Man of Medan, that seems like a very good game.
All right. Well, I've been waiting all episode to talk to you about Control, which you played this week from Remedy. And I know that you're already a pretty massive fan of Remedy games, particularly Alan Wake. And I think you liked the last one, didn't you? Quantum Break?
Quantum Break. Yeah, I have said publicly Remedy Games has never made a bad game.
And you said it in your review, too.
Yeah, I love everything they've ever made. My best friend and I routinely quote Max Payne at one another. And I don't think there's a time we've had dinner where we haven't talked about how good Max Payne 2 is.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
So talk to me about Control, because I know very little about this story, and obviously when I kind of tread lightly, we don't want to give away any spoilers because there are some surprises in this from what you've told me. But what's the basic story on here about this main character?
Whew, buddy. I talked about in my review. I just threw a bunch of words out there and said, these are very confusing. It's going to make sense to you eventually. This game starts off weird as hell.
Yeah,
and
in a good way?
Does not let up on the weirdness. Yeah, in a very good way.
Okay.
It is very, you watch the pilot of Lost.
Uh-huh.
And you're just like, what the hell is happening?
Okay. That's what I want to hear.
Like, it is that kind of mystery. It's very Abrams-esque in its mystery box storytelling.
Now, please tell me it doesn't end like Lost did.
Well, you and I differ there. I love the ending of Lost.
Oh.
So, except the cork. Everything but the cork worked. There's a show about the characters, darn it. No, but what is refreshing about Control here is that unlike Lost, it does not dilly-dally about answering questions.
Okay, so you actually do get answers to questions. You get a finality to the story.
Yeah, you know how Lost waited until, I think, mid-season 2 to find out what made that roar in the forest?
Yeah.
This would be the equivalent of if they answered that question in, like, episode 3.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't take too long to get going.
No, they give you a bunch of questions up front, and they actually give you answers, which I really appreciate. But you play as Jessie Faden, who is a woman who has been looking for her brother Dylan Faden. She believes the Federal Bureau of Control has had him this whole time. He's been missing for about 17 years. And she finally finds the FBC, the Federal Bureau of Control. When she gets there, there's no one there. And it is because everyone has been taken over by the Hiss, an entity, like a supernatural entity force from another dimension has crept through into ours.
Is that an acronym for something?
No, it's just the Hiss.
They're just called the Hiss?
It is because whenever you're around them, you hear this faint whispering in the background at all times.
Oh.
So it sounds like a little hissing sound. But this all takes place, the FBC is operating out of a location called the Oldest House, which is a facility of unknowable shape and design because already it is much bigger on the inside than it could possibly be on the outside, for instance. And it's weird.
Yeah, but weird in a good way.
weird in a very good way. And the concepts are so kind of out there. It's almost hard to talk about. But the oldest house mostly operates like an office building. But you'll go into a rock quarry that is in the basement, and it mines like extraterrestrial rocks, and you can see a view of space from the basement of this building.
Wow.
And you'll go into like there is an ocean view motel and casino which tethers all of realities together. Is this like hotel on the side of a road basically, and you can't open any doors in it except the one that brought you in.
That sounds kind of fascinating, actually.
I am obsessed with the Ocean View Motel, man. That is the thing that stuck out to me the most, because you can only open the one door you come through, which has a black inverted pyramid, but there are other shapes, so there are other dimensions tied to this house.
Interesting.
But this is the kind of mysteries that you get, and I guess like not everything is answered, but there's a satisfactory amount of answers in this game, and there's enough lingering questions where you want to know more about the universe.
Oh, man, so you're not giving me any good reasons to skip this game, but I want to talk about the gameplay a little bit, because one of the things
that should get there.
Yeah, one of the things that intrigued me about your written review is that this plays more like a Metroidvania, which I was not expecting at all.
Yeah, this game straight up Metroidvania.
I mean, in 3D.
Yeah,
third person view.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of those, right? You got like Metroid Prime, Arkham Asylum, and the Tomb Raider games is kind of the beginning and the end of the 3D Metroidvania list,
right?
But this is done mostly well. There's a few times where the kind of the map and the menu screen is very poorly designed.
Yeah.
So there are a couple times where I got lost, and that was a little bit frustrating. But because it's a Metroidvania, you do a lot of the backtracking, and you get to learn the unknowable oldest house, which is a lot of fun. You know, I don't know about you. I like kind of knowing the space I'm in, like the Spencer Mansion or like the police station for Resident Evil 2 earlier this year.
Right.
You know how you got to learn like every inch of that place? You get to learn every inch of the oldest house.
So it's kind of like storytelling just by the environment. You learn about what happened, or without it just being like right in your face and being told with dialogue or something, you actually kind of learn from looking around. Yeah,
there are a lot of pickups that'll expand the world. Mm-hmm. You know, it didn't take me very many hours to get the trophy for collecting like 150 notes. Like, there's a ton of stuff to read about the universe if you're interested in, and you will be. I can't remember the last game where I actually stopped to read all of the pickups.
Okay.
And this game
was it Alan Wake?
No, I think it might have been The Last of Us. I'm taking a true guess, but it's just you get to learn about all these different departments of the Bureau of Control, like luck and probability, and the mirror testing. Like, can we enter mirror dimensions? Stuff like that. Like, it's very weird. Like, there's a paranormal research section. It's just like, it's fascinating to learn about all this stuff. And that's really where the story truly comes alive for me. Because like the main story is pretty good. And I actually like Jessie quite a bit. Because you get to go into her brain. You get to go into her mind. Like almost like she narrates the story. You get to see what she's narrating in her head to herself.
Oh, okay. Like
you'll talk to a character and I'll do this like cut up close to her eyes, which is when you know she's about to narrate. And it'll be like, like, oh man, she's really quirky, or like, oh, I can't give away too much of myself right now. Or she'll be like, man, I am scared to death, but she'll put on a brave face. It's just kind of cool to get to know that character. But she's really good. But the main story itself is mostly pretty good about solving the hiss problem, but it doesn't wrap up super satisfactorily.
It does or does not?
Does not. It kind of rushes its conclusion a little bit.
Okay. Well, what about the combat? Because you play a game like this.
Yeah, we'll get to. I just wanted to make a quick. Speaking of this, the main story may not be the greatest thing, but the side missions, because there are other survivors of the hiss, are incredible. This is where the game really comes alive. Are these short little stories, and I hope that the DLC is nothing but these, because you'll do like a side mission where here's a refrigerator where if people don't constantly make unblinking eye contact with it, it'll eat you, basically.
Wow. The refrigerator will?
Exactly. Yeah. So you're trying to like find a replacement because there's a guy watching it. And there's a paper lantern, like a Japanese style paper lantern that like distorts things around it. There's like a 1950s style hand chair, you know, the chair's in the shape of a hand.
Yeah.
It has its own gravitational force field that you have to get under control. You get your telekinesis powers because you find a floppy disk that gives you that power. Like it's super weird. These paranormal objects are like so fascinating.
That sounds really interestingly written. Like I was not expecting that.
Yeah, there's just so many like short stories about all these supernatural objects of power, these altered items, these world events, and it's just fascinating. But I guess the gameplay, huh?
Yeah.
The Metroidvania exploration is really cool. Like I said, it's really neat to navigate around. It's a little bit more confusing than it should be, but I think that's because they made so much of it look like an office building. But the gunplay is super cool. It is, no surprise that Remedy knows how to make a shooter.
Right.
I should say. It is a stylish game. It's combat is incredibly fun to just watch. There's so much going on, auditory and visually, that it is a lot of fun. You can read about that in the review. But you get different powers. You start off with a gun called the service weapon, which is how Jesse becomes the director of the Federal Bureau of Control, because whoever chooses to be chosen by the service weapon is the director of the Federal Bureau of Control. It's as simple as that to be in charge. And it's a pretty cool gun. It doesn't reload, which took some getting used to at first for sure. But it's basically just shards of metal that move around and it take the shape of like your shotgun or assault rifles and stuff.
So it's pieces of floating metal that just form into a gun?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And it'll change shape. It'll like expand to like an X shape to be a sniper rifle. It's just like a really cool weapon, very unique.
That sounds really freaking cool. There
is an unbelievable amount of imagination and creativity going on in this game.
Oh my gosh.
Like every inch of this thing just drips with creativity.
Here's what really sucks. Because, we try to play as many games as possible and we try to review as many games as possible. You're reviewing this game for us. So it doesn't make any sense for me to go through and play through a 20-hour game when I could be playing something else that we could be reviewing.
I think it's going to be important come Game of the Year discussion, Scott.
Oh, I'm going to need to play this game, aren't I?
Yeah, you're not getting out of this one. What's nice is that it's a reasonable length, right? Like the main story is probably just 12 hours.
Now, I thought you said 20. Oh, you did all the side stuff.
Like 12 to 15 hours, but there is as much side content as there is main content in this game.
Okay.
If not more. Which is great because that's where the best stuff is, in my opinion. But back to the gunplay, super good. The shooting feels great, and it feels a little. At first, you're kind of like, oh, it's kind of it almost feels a little Quantum Breaky, just kind of standard shooting. But then you start getting your powers, and you get like telekinesis, and you can pick up anything in the environment that you want. You can upgrade it to pick up forklifts, which I love to do because they make big old explosions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the really neat part about it is they don't try to like tie you down. If there is nothing in grabbable distance, she'll just rip concrete out of the floor. Wow. And it'll leave like a chunk of concrete out of the ground. It's actually a really neat visual effect. But you get like your melee attack is basically a short range force push, which also leaves waves in the ground because it's so powerful, which is cool. You get a levitation power, which really makes the game come alive. And you can take over people's minds. Like there's all kinds of powers. And there's a shield as well. And they're all upgradable. And you know how I hate skill trees, Scott. But the skill tree in this game feels worthwhile because every few upgrades you'll have the ability to get like a new actual ability for it.
Okay.
Which is nice.
So it constantly feels like you're moving forward at a good clip then.
Yeah, you're always adding new stuff to your combat repertoire, which is great. And then when it all comes together, it is just an absolute delight to shoot stuff in this game.
I'm gonna have to play this game, man.
Yeah, especially, man, once you get that levitation and you're throwing telekinesis at a guy while you're shotgunning a dude to your left who's floating in the air that you're fighting as well. Then you mind control the healing enemy types, and then now you're getting healing because it's on your side. It's just there's so much you can do in every single combat encounter. And I thought when the game was opening, I was like, this combat's going to get old fast. But then they started introducing those powers. And now I'm just going around looking for collectibles because I just want an excuse to get more firefights.
See, that's the exact opposite of what I do in games. I'm always trying to avoid firefights, whether either being stealthy or...
I am 100% with you in most games.
Yeah.
The shooting is there. The shooting is that creative. You know, I haven't really seen. I guess PsyOps would be the closest analog. If you remember that game from 15
I remember
years
it,
ago.
but I remember it didn't age well. If I remember correctly.
No, that's kind of what nice. Like telekinesis is much easier to handle. You know, mind control is snappy. It is just, it's great, and then it's got that Remedy House style, right? You know, their stylish action there. The TV shows that happen in world that are happening in live action.
Okay.
You remember, like Alan Wake had that a lot as well.
Night Springs.
Yes, exactly. And then Alan Wake's actor and Max Payne's actor are both in this game, which I love as like the two people who run the FBC, which I thought was a neat nod to their past. I could listen to James McCaffrey, the Max Payne actor, read a phone book, which is great because all he does is just read stuff to you in this game.
And obviously won't spoil anything, but there are some pretty fun surprises from what you told me.
It ties into past Remedy games. They always reference their old games though, and everything they make. There's some pretty direct nods I think fans of Remedy games would love.
That's really cool,
For
man.
sure.
So I think it's safe to say that you would recommend this game, yes?
Yeah, man, again, all that creativity on display. And then I always admire when side missions, like the side missions take you to whole areas you don't have to explore and have like their own discrete boss fights. Like they designed boss fights for stuff you don't ever have to see.
Oh, that's really cool.
Like the mind control is an optional objective. Like I didn't have to get that power.
Wow. That seems pretty vital. Or you'd think it would be pretty.
Well, like that's what makes this game like so refreshing is that they're willing to let you miss stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, which I would think as a developer, as you're really putting a lot of faith in your player, you know, really being brave in your game design to let people miss hours of content and just trusting them to find it.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So this game, the more I think about this game, the more I talk about this game, the more I love this game.
Sounds good. That is Control, which you played on PS4, but it is also available on Xbox One and PC, correct?
Yep. And 505 Games sent us over the code for that one. So thanks to them on that. And yeah, man, that's go play it. You're going to need to reference this game later in the year, Scott. I'm telling you.
All right, I will do my best, man.
Tetsumo Party. You played that one?
I did play Tetsumo Party.
This is the sumo wrestler party game, right? Like Mario Party with sumo wrestlers is kind of what it looked like.
No, not at all.
Darn.
There was a network television show called Hole in the Wall. Do you remember that show at all? Where like
I remember you telling me about it when we were talking about Tetsumo Party coming out.
Okay, so if you've never heard of the show Hole in the Wall, basically it's a person that stands in front of a large pool of water with a large board that comes toward them, and there is a hole in the wall that is in the shape of a body being in a certain shape, like an arm being up in the air, one being down, one leg being lifted up, and the idea is that you have to fit through that wall without being pushed into the pool of water. So Nate is showing us a picture so you can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about. And that's what you do in this game. Now, in order to control the body of your sumo wrestler, you are playing the entire game using nothing but the shoulder buttons and the trigger buttons. So each of those 4 buttons controls one of the 4 limbs. One is the right arm, one's the left arm, one's the right leg, one is the left leg. And each of these buttons cycles through one of either 3 or one of 5 different positions that those arms can be positioned in. And the tricky part is that you have to control all 4 limbs to get all of them in the appropriate sequence of positions in order to be able to fit through the hole in the wall. Does that make sense in terms of
I get
basics?
what you're saying. I can understand where I thought the Mario Party reference. It looks like a Mario Party minigame.
That's a good way to say it. It looks like something that you would see in a Mario Party mini game, but it's a little bit more complex than a Mario Party mini game for sure. There's a couple different ways to play this. The one that CB and I played most was a head-to-head version where we both have the same different shapes coming towards us, and you have to get through them with fewer errors than your opponent. And it's not like a one and done. If you get hit once, it's not over. But you have a certain number of hits before it's game over. And where it gets really tricky and frustrating, because I suck at this game one-on-one, because I have trouble wrapping my head around it as it is. But what this game does is, if you are doing really well, you know how like when you play Tetris versus somebody else, if you get like a bunch of lines, you get crap thrown on their screen.
Yep.
It makes it more difficult. So in this one, if your opponent is doing really well, the computer will just start swapping which buttons or which limbs, and my brain just does not work when I can't like position my brain
it's
to
like
do it.
Tapping your head and rubbing your belly at the same time?
Exactly. That's an exact analogy of how that works, and it's awful. This game is cute. It's clever. It's not a game that I would recommend playing for long periods of time by any means. However, the mode that I think would be super fun is where you can play it with multiple people, because there's actually a team effort version of this. So you actually play it with your buddies, where when CB and I played it, because we only had two of us, he was two of the limbs and I was two of the limbs. So
that sounds like madness.
It does, especially because it will just straight up switch up the limbs on you. So for the first round, I might be controlling the right arm and the left arm, and he's controlling the other two. And then after we get one panel passes us, now it switches it up. So now I have to like train my brain for the 3 seconds that I have to look at which limbs I'm controlling and then get them in the right spot. But you can actually do 4 people on this. So each person is only one limb, but you have to, again, figure out which limb you are, and then you have to have 4 people that get it exactly right, and you try to see how far and far you can go.
So it seems like a fun novelty.
Yeah, it's a game I really want to get together with some people and play with some beers, because it would be hilarious.
It doesn't seem like you're not going to play this game, 6 hours in a row, probably.
No. This is the epitome of a party game. You're not going to play it as long as you're going to play like a Jackbox game, or something like that. Or what was the game the Until Dawn people made that was a multiplayer game?
Hidden Agenda?
Hidden Agenda was great. It was story based, and it was awesome. You're not going to play this as long as that. This is like a half hour, 45 minutes, but it is a hilariously good time if you're with the right people. So that is Tetsumo Party. I played it on Xbox One, but it is also available on Switch and PS4.
But it's not all you played, is it, Scott?
Yes, it is. Oh no, that's because I'm telling lies.
Telling lies?
I was just telling a lie.
You're so good at this. You're a natural host, I tell you. You played Telling Lies on iOS, correct? Not wrong? You're not going to lie to me again?
I'm done lying. At least for the next 5 minutes.
That might have been a lie. This is the Her Story follow-up, correct?
Yeah, did you play Her Story?
Yes. It was okay.
It's an interesting concept, right? If you've never played Her Story, it's less of a game and more of a database searching simulator. So in Her Story, you played as a cop that was looking through all these forensic files where they were interviewing people at the police station, and you're picking up keywords in order to be able to do a new search to try to find another video to help unravel the story.
It was a fun concept that was let down by a rather dull story.
It was a rather dull story, and I will say that Telling Lies starts out with you just have so many questions, because they've actually changed it up a little bit, where in Her Story, you're always seeing an interview where someone was being interviewed. And in this one, you're actually tapping into the NSA and watching videos tied to a specific set of like 5 or 6 people. And you're watching their conversations, but they are having like Skype conversations with somebody else, but you're only seeing one side of the conversation. So there'll be moments where the person just sits and stares at the camera. And this is full motion video, by the way. So someone might be talking to somebody else, but you're only hearing one half of the conversation, which is jarring at first until you realize that. You're like, why is this person just staring at the computer? And then you you look for clue words and you try to find somebody else. So eventually you'll find that other half of the conversation that you weren't hearing. And now you hear it from the other person's perspective and hear their side of the conversation. So what I can gather from this story, which I'm very early on, I haven't figured out how long this game is, but there's a guy named David that is married to a blonde woman, and they have a child. And it seems that David has a mistress, and he also is chatting with a sex worker, like one of those like webcam type sex workers.
Yeah, this guy's got a libido that can't keep down.
Right. Now, I don't know if you've watched Westworld, but the sex worker is played by one of the prostitutes in Westworld.
Okay.
The real long brunette, the taller, skinny one with the really pretty eyes, which I was like, I didn't know she was in this, and she's kind of fascinating to watch. They've tweaked the formula a little bit more though. So you remember how in her story you could bookmark, like you could kind of like bookmark a phrase to kind of remember it for later. So this one allows you to like tap on. You can actually have captions on, like subtitles on in the videos while you're watching it. So you can actually tap on a word or click and drag and tap on multiple words and just automatically bookmark it. And then when you search by that bookmark, it will give you a list of new videos that you can watch. And when you click on them, it's actually scrubbed ahead to the point where they say that phrase in the video. So you don't necessarily have to watch the entire video, but you can fast forward, rewind, and go through and watch the whole thing if you want to. I can't tell you where the story is going. I haven't played enough of it to uncover to see if the story is interesting enough, but I'm intrigued. But just go, if you're going to give this game a shot, be sure to know that it's like I said, less of a game and more like it feels like you're spying on conversations and trying to learn about people. And you're not going to know what's going on at the beginning, but the more you dig and dig and dig, the deeper the narrative goes, and it gets interesting. And it's fun because they've added these clue words in there to make you feel like a detective and to know what to look for. And it's really interesting. So
it sounds really cool.
Yeah, it is. If you like the concept of her story, this is a much more streamlined, revised version of it, where they've added some tools to make it a little bit easier. They even added a solitaire game because you're actually on a desktop computer, and I was just messing around with it, and they actually have a full solitaire game that you can actually sit there and play solitaire. Why I don't know, but
I mean,
did
why
it.
not at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it's uncomfortably close to reality. The NSA spying in on people like that.
Right. Well, and I'm not even sure what that is because I don't know if I am a member of the NSA. Because they give like these little text documents that you're supposed to read that are giving you instructions on how to use the software, and they write it in a way that you have downloaded this software and you are using it, or someone has given it to you, and they're giving you specific directions to make sure that nobody knows you're using this software and spying on this. So I get the impression that I am not with this organization. I have tapped into the NSA or something, but and I'm wondering if that's going to play into the story as well. So it's really intriguing, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
You sound excited about it so far.
Yeah, I would recommend it. It's like $7 or $8, I think, and I think a lot of that is because of the nature of the filming. It's a lot of filming and acting, and it's full motion video. It was a long download, and I was attached to Wi-Fi. So it took a long time for this thing to install. So there's lots and lots of video in this. Well worth the $8 for sure.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right, before we get to the games that we've been catching up on, I've got 4 more sponsors to say thanks to for helping us out at R2V2. First off, Lori Janko Wilkie. She is an agent for State Farm Insurance. She actually, for those people that collect video games, she actually has products that will help you protect those video game collections, as well as a lot more. You can reach her at area code 815-223-2118. Also, Blue Box Cafe. This is a Doctor Who-themed cafe with delicious sandwiches and coffee. I've actually been there in Elgin, and it is fantastic. Can't recommend it enough. They're located at 175 East Chicago Street. And then 2 more. We've got Holsibus Chiropractic in Machesney Park. They're located at 1010 Harlem Road, and you can go to machesney.holsibuschiropractic.com. I've actually been to Holsibus and he's actually helped me quite a bit with some back issues I had in the past. And then lastly, Classic Limousine in Machesney Park. They're actually providing transportation for our 3 celebrity guests for R2V2 from the airport. You can find them at rockfordlimo.com, and I can actually vouch for them because I used them when I got married about 14 years ago. So, Zach, you got any games you've been catching up on, or was it just Control this week?
Mostly Control. I played that Gears Pop, which is neat.
I think you and CB like it better than I do.
It is a Clash Royale clone.
Yeah,
but
totally.
It's got Funko Pops are cute. There's no question, and I like the Gears characters quite a bit. But I don't know how much attention this game is going to hold of mine.
Well, this game has one thing going for it for me.
The Gears of War license?
Well, that too. It has 2 things going for it for me. And that is you can earn achievements by playing this game.
Yes, you can.
Because you can link it to your Xbox Live account.
It was funny. I was watching the DC Universe app on my Xbox One, and I was playing Gears Pop while I was doing that. And I unlocked an achievement. It popped up on my TV.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I was like, well, that's funny.
That is cool. And I wonder if it's got rare achievements, because those are the ones I would be after. I like those.
I mean, I don't know how many people are racking up the achievements in this game yet, so maybe.
Well, my problem is that I played an absurd amount of Clash Royale back in the day, so much to the point that I finally had to uninstall it because I'm like, I have to get away from this game. I have to stop playing it. And I fired up the first match of Gears Pop, and I'm like, oh, it's Clash Royale. I might be done. But
I mean, it's kind of neat. Like, the cover taking mechanic is pretty neat. Like, you push forward your spawn zone. Like, that's a neat concept, but I'm just like, yeah, do I need another one of these?
Yeah, that's kind
of the loot box is actually pretty cute because it's you're unboxing Funko Pops.
Right. So you got that going for you.
Yeah, that's fun.
It is fun, but I don't know how long I'm going to last on it, if at all. Every time I see it, the icon on my phone, I hover my finger over it, and I'm just like, I go in there, and then I look and see what loot I can pick up, and then I go to the button to actually like start a match because you get the chainsaw bayonets, like, and you can click on this to battle, and I'm like, yeah, no. I just have no drive or motivation to do this. And I've heard that the matchmaking is pretty terrible, too. Like, you get matched up with people like twice your level. And
I wonder if that is because so few people are playing it.
That may be. It's very possible. Very possible. As for me, I dabbled a bit more in Plants vs. Zombies. After we talked last week, Zach, I actually went and downloaded it on my phone, too. Man, that's a great way to play Plants vs. Zombies.
That is the ideal way to play Plants vs. Zombies.
It really is. It's great. I actually bought the $3 version to not have ads. Like, I mean, I want to support Plants vs. Zombies, and it's great playing it again. It's just a joy. So
that's such a good game.
It really is. It just the way it compounds and just gets better and different and unique as that game goes. I know it's a really old game, but it's really solid. If you haven't played Plants vs. Zombies, do yourself a favor. So, anything else for you? Is that it?
I guess that's all the games I'm playing. Pretty much.
All right.
Slowly working my way through Spider-Man again.
You're going to play through the whole game again?
Yeah, dude. I'm only doing like a mission a day, just because I need to get those last 2 trophies that I don't have. Even though I have the platinum, I got to get my New Game Plus and Ultimate Difficulty trophies so I can have that nice 100% next to the title.
Gotcha. Well, good luck with that. That's going to do it for this episode of the Gaming Outsider, though. Zach, any parting words or recommendations for the listeners?
Yeah. Hey, if you read, and I'm kind of doing comic shout-outs since Smirk's on hiatus. Read Absolute Carnage #2. That should be coming out like the day after this podcast goes live. Absolute Carnage is a really fun event, and the Spider-Man family of books has not been this good or interesting in about 15 years. So now read some Absolute Carnage. All
right. I'm going to make one recommendation too, and it's an old one. I'm apparently very late to the party, but I started watching Neon Genesis Evangelion on Netflix, which apparently, from what you and CB are telling me, is a much toned down version of the original Japanese. But
CB's overselling it. It is a weird anime. You just haven't got to the weird stuff yet.
Okay. Well, I'm about to get to the weird stuff, I think, because I'm over the halfway mark. So I'm intrigued. And from what people keep saying, It's going to get really weird, and I can't wait to see it how it goes. But yeah, stay tuned for more. But until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zack Parkerson, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.